Tina
is an idiot that has an 8 awesome.
What the fuck is this? Fish. Finally we're stalling. What the fuck, Hulu? Never flow one. Oh, that's fake! Okay, what? Oh, that's a fuck you. How did I change brightness? It's super dumb. I can't even see a couple stuff. I don't know what's that. I know it's called. Never mind. I'm supposed to fucking spin it. How brightness? How I do brightness changes? I don't want to change my IP address.
for support on my mic.
À qui ressemble quelqu'un qui souffre de mal-être, d'anxiété?
Hello everyone, my name is Wilson and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how you can adjust your screen brightness on Windows 11. Here on your dialog window will appear. Under the brightness and color section, you have the brightness option. On the left side, right here, you can see the brightness icon, and on the right side, you have the brightness slider. To adjust the brightness, what you have to do is click on this dot and drag it to the left to lower the brightness.
Where's the fucking brightness, you idiot? The fuck is that image? The fuck is that image? What the? Yeah.
Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bomb is shaped like a deer. DUI, how about you die? I'll go 100 miles an hour. Little do you know, I filled up on gas. I'm a kid, you're bound to make an ass. Pulverize the spot with my cooking truck. It seems you're out of luck.
And they'll collect their own well-being. This is the Don't tell me you're gonna play Parappa the Rapper thing. What? Yeah, nice job, idiot. What? Yeah. The 48 boy key. Can't see them next week. Let's go. Let's go, ball. Yeah, we can't see anything. Oh, this is the type. Go. Let's go. code at school, I don't bring a fucking thing. Oh. Go down. Why is it so thin? Why is it so much? I only bring homework though. Alright, fuck you. Yeah, I think it's cool.
Real or fake?
Real.
Real or fake?
Modded world. It's Halloween right now, or at least technically it was. Minecraft 1.7.10
Oh, what was it for 10?
modded world. It's Halloween right now, or at least technically it was. It's 12:20 in the morning, November 1st, so 20 minutes ago Halloween ended. But yeah, my computer still thinks it's Halloween, and I was able to catch something special. Yeah, I got a pumpkin skeleton. These only spawn on Halloween in Minecraft. It's awesome. I can't believe I actually found it. I literally opened my game at 11:57, 3 minutes away before I could have been able to find this. I can't believe how lucky I got. As soon as I close my game, these guys won't spawn for a whole year, unless I change my computer's time, but that's cheating and kind of a lot of effort anyway for something so novel. But yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe I actually got one. Like, this is just something I'm just gonna have now in my world. Isn't it just amazing? Yeah, if I go down here, I don't want to die because he got me pretty low. But like, oops, yeah, I have a cave right here. But you can see I name tagged him, so he's not gonna despawn. It's just amazing. Like, I'm just gonna have this from now on. I got a skeleton, buddy. I want to maybe get a zombie too with this other name tag. I'm not gonna count on it. Honestly, one mob is enough. And it's kind of hard to find mobs with the hardcore darkness. Like the whole time during the night, I kept placing torches in random spots because I couldn't see anything, but then that would block mob spawn. So it was kind of an interesting kind of game. You can see there's just like random torches about in this field. But I can't believe I actually got one. Like it was just starting to turn day when I found it. I got really lucky. Yeah, I just barely got onto Minecraft to do this. Like, for the whole day, I had a get-together with a bunch of my friends, and we were hanging out until, like... And while I was showering, I just checked the time. I realized Halloween was about to end, and I was like, I really gotta get this done. So I speedran the rest of my shower, and I actually got on my computer, and Minecraft loaded by the time Halloween was about to end. So that was just actual, like, perfect timing. Because remember, even though it's technically November 1st, Minecraft still thinks it's Halloween because I opened the game right before it ended. Also, yeah, I'm growing a lot of water artichoke. I literally have no reason to. I just am. I'm not really doing much research. A bunch of these are ghost blocks, bro. Also, if you're wondering, I got these name tags from Craftable Name Tags and Saddles mod. Very handy. It makes horse armor, saddles, horse armor, all craftable. I also have a separate one for chain armor. Oh yeah, I'm gonna back up my world to make sure I don't lose that skeleton, and then we'll do some other stuff. All right, we are back. Now, it's actually been kind of a while since I've recorded on this world. I've been busy with a lot of other projects and videos, but now I'm back to recording on this world, so that's cool. Yeah, I have been playing. You might see I have a few base changes. All I really did is I have this room behind my mine room, and it leads to a greenhouse down here, which is where I'm starting to grow food. It's a really mediocre farm, but I mean, eventually it'll get good, I hope. And then through here, I have this glass room, which I plan to get a horse for. I want to have a horse. I'll talk more about why I want a horse so bad later. And then in this room, I have another portal, which I've not gone inside yet. I want to do the nether soon as well. But I think first I want to get a horse, because horses are cool. Also, something else I should probably mention, I got some new gadgets. I have a solar helmet, which as long as I'm standing under the sun, it'll recharge my tools and stuff. I'm not sure if I mentioned these. I have a chainsaw and a diamond drill, which the drill is pretty much like a pickaxe and a shovel combined, and a chainsaw is like a sword and an axe combined. And these use energy, so they don't break. When they run out of energy, I just can't use them no more until I recharge them. Anyway, I had the lat pack, which stores a bunch of energy that my tools will use. So that's cool. I like extend my energy capacity with these. So pretty much I get more uses out of them before I gotta recharge. And then the last thing I made is static boots, which will charge my items as I walk around and sprint and stuff. So I'm pretty kitted out right now. I'm feeling good. Anyway, if there's one thing I want to make right now, I want to make a saddle because I have a mod that makes them craftable because they honestly should have been craftable since the start of this game. But yeah, I just need some leather and some string and an iron for that. Which I think I have all that. Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. All right, saddle done. And I'm gonna take my name tag. I have an extra name tag when I was collecting Halloween mobs. I'm gonna use this to name my horse. I was gonna go to bed, but the sun's actually rising right now, so I don't really have to, but I still am. I got a min-max, you know what I'm saying? Alright, I'm just gonna go find a horse just around, I guess. Also, that's on me as a sword. Hello, buddy. Yeah, that's the example of a chainsaw. It's a pretty cool weapon. Also, there's some snow around my base. I'm pretty sure that's because there was a snow creeper walking around out here, and they leave snow where they walk. I want to say there were some horses somewhere in that direction on the other side of this plains biome. I'm pretty sure there were. We'll find out. I hope so, because if not, I don't know where any others are, and it might be kind of tough to get more. I see some cows. Those are kind of like horses, but they don't walk fast and can't be tamed, so not what I'm looking for. They're like fake horses. This is savannah biome over here. I don't know if I've ever shown that off, but there is. Still no luck on horses. Although, what is that? That's a crazy looking mountain over there. I don't think I've seen that yet. That's beautiful. That could be kind of a fire secondary base location. We'll see. And also, I see a snow biome over there. That's fun. Pumpkins. I don't remember if I have these already. I'll take it just in case. I am looking to explore around here a little bit though, because I've also been looking for a desert biome. I really want to find a desert biome. I love those, but I haven't been able to find one close to my base. I used Nature's Compass to try and locate one, and the closest one was very far, and it was a tiny ass desert too. Not really what I'm looking for. So I want a big desert to build quarries in, and also get a bunch of sand for glass. That is a pretty cool snow biome though. There's some friendly creepers down there too. This is definitely the wrong biome to look for horses, but I'm also looking for deserts, so it's okay, I guess. And you know what? I can't get mad at all the views. There's some beautiful views around here. Also, this lava pit that spawned like under the ledge. I really like that. Gotta find the positive parts of everything, you know? Oh shit, I'm starving to death. Yeah, I found out the hard way that if your hunger goes all the way to the bottom with hunger overhaul, you die immediately. I wasn't recording for that, but I died. Kind of far from my base. Luckily, I got everything back, but that was scary. More mountains over here. These are also cool looking. See, Extreme Hills is a really cool biome. I just wish it had less stone and more grass, and I wish the grass was a different color. That's like my only gripe with this biome, but other than that, it's pretty cool. Desert! Oh, it's beautiful. Please tell me this one's more than like 3 blocks. This one isn't even that far, too. It's only maybe 1,000 blocks. Probably less, maybe 500. Oh, it's beautiful. No idea if I'm gonna even touch this desert in this episode, but I will probably do stuff with it in the next episode. I'm not sure. We'll see. This is absolutely what I was looking for. I can build a secondary base over here, get a bunch of sand. I even found some saltpeter just now. Wow. This stuff honestly isn't used for much, but I'm pretty sure I can craft gunpowder with it. Yeah, I can. 2 saltpeter, a sulfur, and charcoal. I can make a gunpowder, so that's cool. Yeah, this desert is ginormous. Safe to say, this is what I've been looking for. It's also pretty flat around here, too, which is perfect for building. That was scary. I thought those trees didn't have any leaves on them for a sec. Thought Herobrine was in my world. It's getting dark. I'm actually gonna make a bed. I intentionally killed some sheep on the way here, so in case it gets dark, I can just sleep on the go. I'll just sleep under the stars. It's cool. Nice, we're good. Alright, let's keep moving. Now I really can't die, though, because if I die, I'll go back to world spawn, which is pretty close to my base, but it's just a little bit annoying. Especially because I don't really have any food. Moving. It's dark, I can just sleep on the go. I'll just sleep under the stars, it's cool. Nice, we're good. Alright, let's keep moving. Now I really can't die, though, because if I die, I'll go back to world spawn, which is pretty close to my base, but it's just a little bit annoying. Especially because I don't really have any food at my base right now. Like, the pork I have on me is like the only food I have at all. There's so many animals here, I can just kill them. Who cares? By the time they notice, I'll have skipped town already. And I could use the food and the leather. And even the poop. I still have no idea what poop is used for. Found no horses, but I did find a sludge pit. Finally! We found horses. It's beautiful. Alright, let's see which one of you is the fastest. Alright, let's see. How quick are you? Ooh, that's not good at all. Is your jump height good? It's alright. Don't think you're the one, buddy. Sorry. How about you? This one's a lot quicker. I can absolutely get behind that. What's the jump height, though? If it can jump 2 blocks, I'd say it's good. I'm easily impressed. 3? Was that 3? I think that was 3. Hold on. 3, and it wasn't even that good. I think we found the one. I could technically come back and try these other ones, but I don't care that much. I think we got ourselves a horse. Nice to meet you. Okay, time to go back to base. I'm kind of a long ways away. I'm like maybe 1,000 blocks. I have no idea, to be honest. I don't remember my original basis chords, which is maybe bad. I just remember the general direction, to be honest. Worst comes to worst, I'll just go to 0, 0, and I'll probably be able to find my way back from there. Oh, it feels so good to have a horse, though. They're so fast. Yeah, the reason why I wanted one so bad is because before I had to sprint to move around everywhere. And remember, I have limited sprinting due to Darwin's sprinting system. But now I have unlimited sprint that's faster than sprint anyway. In other words, horse is goated. Also, is that a desert temple over there? That's totally a desert temple. Hold on. Also, it spawned in kind of a cool spot. I like that. On my faster than sprint anyway. In other words, horse is goated. But now I have unlimited sprint that's faster than sprint anyway. In other words, horse system. But now sprint to move around everywhere. And remember, I have limited sprinting due to Darwin's sprinting system. But now I have unlimited sprint that's faster than sprint anyway. In other words, horse is goated. Also, is that a desert temple over there? That's totally a desert temple. Hold on. Also, it spawned in kind of a cool spot. I like that. I really do not want to lose my horse. I don't have any leads. I'll just dig a hole for you. Horse pit. Oh, I broke into the temple, apparently. Well, that's adequate. Okay, we're raiding the Temple of Death. This should be pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna, like, go down there. Immediately breaking that. No, thank you. What do we have? Cooked meat ingot. That is the most... I was gonna say that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard, but it would be grosser if it was a raw meat ingot. That's cool. We also got tin in here. What about this one? More meat. We got gold floppy disk. Don't know what that does. Probably from Computer Craft, and we got a Safari net. That's cool. This is a lot of more of the same stuff, and what about you? Same stuff for the most part. Bones, though. Bones is kind of fire. I don't have any. I'll honestly take the meat, because it's food. I don't have a lot of food, remember? Also, these don't stack. They only stack to 2. That must mean they're really fulfilling, though. Yeah, they're hearty large meals. That's good to know. Also, the Safari nets. Do those stack? Doesn't look like it. That's just great. How do you craft a single-use Safari net? Oh, those are cheap. I'm not even gonna take these, to be honest. I can make them that easily. I did not know they were that easy to make. I will take the floppy disk. I'll take both of them, just because they're kind of cool. And I'm pretty sure whatever programs are on these are unique, so that's kind of fun. All right, let's get out of here. Okay, it's starting to get dark, though. Sleeping under the stars again with my horse.
I am Hellfire.
These stupid ads.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another progress report. Alright, Greasy, this is your new house. Enjoy. Honestly, it is a good place. He has mostly fresh grass, he has some bushes. What is there not to love? I should deposit all my riches. I have quite a few riches. I'm actually gonna grill out some of this beef, so that way I have it. Also, I have a ton of ingots in here. I don't even remember doing this. Must have been at like 1 a.m. That's when I play the most on this world. I think let's do the nether. There's not a whole lot I want to do in the nether, but I do want to prepare. I think let's do the nether.
Yeah, continue with this for a bit.
Do the nether. Yeah, there's not a whole lot I want to do in the nether, but I do want to prepare for it at least. I want to build a little shelter area. Hopefully I'm by a lava pool, because I can use all the lava for energy. I can just pump it straight out of the lava lake and I'm good. This is all I'm really going to take with me. A bunch of cobblestone and some torches and some iron bars and iron doors. Alright, let's see what happens. I have high hopes for this. Emerald ore right there. That's kind of cool. I already know if I mine it, these guys are going to get pissed at me. Yeah, if you don't know, I have the nether ores mod installed, and it's pretty cool. The ores give you a lot when you break them. But they do anger all the pigment around you, and they have a chance to explode, so it's a trade-off, you know? Definitely here for some of that glowstone, though. I love this block. It's genuinely my favorite lighting block in this game, to be honest. I'd mine quartz, too, but the nether ores thing also applies to vanilla quartz. Kind of annoying. Kind of makes sense, though. It's alright, I don't care. I don't really use quartz for building anyway. Is that a magma cube? What is that? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why do you do so much damage? What did he drop? Tongue of Dog. That's gotta be from Witchery, right? What's Tongue of Dog do? Devil's Tongue Charm. I need a lot of Mumbo Jumbo to craft whatever that is, so I think that's something for another time when I actually try Witchery. Also, there's a sheep man. Hello, buddy. Pretty sure the ones that aren't carrying anvils will trade you stuff. Will you trade me stuff? No, you won't. I think I'm allowed to kill him too, but I don't want to try in case they get mad at me. Honestly, I just realized something really helpful for these nether adventures. I should make a jetpack. Jetpacks will let me use energy for flying, not like creative flight, but I can boost myself in the air unlimited. I don't know if I'll even use it, but I will keep it for preparation. Now, there's a few types of jetpacks I can make. First of all, there's one powered by bluetricity, which I'm not even going to touch. But the ones we actually care about is the regular jetpack, which uses biofuel, or the electric jetpack, which uses electricity, and the nuclear jetpack, which uses a nuclear reactor. This one's not happening. So it's really only between these two. But I'm definitely going to pick the electric one, even if it's a little more expensive, because getting fuel for the regular one is kind of a pain. I've done it before, it's not that bad, but I have everything to make this, so I may as well just make it, because it's a better option. Yeah, making it is pretty straightforward. I'm going to start by making the battery box for it, because it needs a battery box. You know that thing we used in the first episode to store energy? It's that. And now I just need some refined iron and glowstone, which I have, but I also need an advanced circuit, which might be a little bit tougher. Although I don't have any refined iron for some reason. I'm just going to turn like 40 of my iron into refined iron, because it's always good to have, you know? Oh yeah, I don't know if you're seeing that. The cooked meat ingots give a lot of food. I think that's 5 bars in almost full saturation. Don't mind if I do. It's going to take forever to eat. Making the advanced one is pretty straightforward. We have to start with a regular one, and then we just surround it with redstone, glowstone, and lapis. Kind of like this, and then boom, we got it, and we're pretty much done. There we go. We got the electric jetpack. This thing is fantastic. Let me show you how it works. Let me charge it, and I'm just going to go to bed while it charges. Okay, so using it's pretty straightforward. Just put it in my chest slot. and then hit spacebar. I'm flying now. This is actually awesome. I have not used this in my world yet. I can get some cool aerial shots of my base. That's kind of eye-opening. I have a cool looking base for sure. Wait, what the hell? There's grass in here now. I did not put that there. Wait, how did that work? Was it from the poop? What are you doing in here, Greasy? Either way, there's plants in there now. I promise you I did not grow those. I don't know why. Oh, we have a jetpack now. And this thing works in the nether, so it'll be pretty handy. I don't think I'm gonna touch that now though. We'll wait till next episode because it's getting to about that time. It's pretty late and I need to edit this video already. I need a video for today. And I decided this would be it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, like.
Hello Minecraft Idea Academics. Today's video is presented by Zoe, a previous guest on the channel, whom you may recognize from
Google.
Alright everybody, today we are going to be doing one of my biggest...
Welcome back. Saying the word print piece of art had ever posted, and then reported the artist for harassment, with the artist getting a 3-day ban. The artist posted this exchange to Twitter, which went viral, and the r/art subreddit ended up being locked down. Well, as of today, this post was made to the r/art subreddit saying, "We out," with a comment saying, "You win. We all resign," with negative 18,000 upvotes. And then when you look at the moderator list, every single moderator is gone, apart from a bot. So all of the mods supposedly quit, had a tantrum, rather than accepting any responsibility. Hayden Clay, the original artist who posted the screenshot, saying how funny it is on Twitter, and to match the pettiness of the mod, he's now selling a screenshot of this as a print on his website. Now, yesterday, when I covered this and saw how big the backlash was, I did have a feeling we might see a generational crash out from the mods. So I actually screenshotted all of the moderators on r/art before they were removed. I then went through the list to check out their profiles, and most of them were inactive, but I did find something interesting from the 3 active mods I could find. It turns out the moderator who power tripped and caused all of this in the first place, known as Neo Diogenes, actually had one last power trip. According to one moderator, they had no idea what had happened, as no communication was given when the subreddit was locked down. He undid this lockdown, and then he got kicked as a mod. The only other active moderator I could find also posted that they didn't leave voluntarily, calling the mod that kicked them stupid, and providing proof they were randomly kicked, saying it was definitely just one mod crashing out. Now, during Neo Diogenes' crash out, he actually left a bunch of unhinged, sarcastic messages, deleting them 30 minutes later. Comments such as, "You're right, we look like total shits. It's why we quit. Better to be done with all that because we obviously suck at everything. You won, we quit. Go and live life to the fullest, champ. Like I said, I'm boring." And now, it looks like he has
It's often said in life that if at first you don't succeed, you fail. Okay, nobody really says that, but in Portal, it can be true. Whether it's trapping yourself at the bottom of a pit, or getting a cube stuck in an unreachable spot, there are quite a few interesting ways to become soft-locked. But there's one method of soft-locking that's so absurd, so unlikely for the average player to discover, and gets you stuck for so long, that it technically doesn't even count as a soft-lock. Let me explain. After beating Portal's final boss, the game takes control away from the player in order to display an endgame cutscene. We're first shown a section of Aperture's parking lot with GLaDOS' smoldering remains. And Hoopy. The camera then transitions to a corridor full of pipes and pistons, before eventually reaching a dark room filled with cores, the companion cube, and of course, the cake. A metal claw descends from the ceiling to put out the candle, and the credits finally roll. What's interesting about this cutscene is that it's not pre-rendered. This area does actually exist in the map out of bounds, and thanks to the portal gun, it's easy to reach it. Before entering GLaDOS' chamber, there's a small room with concrete walls. It's possible to bump a portal through this corner, allowing us to access out-of-bounds space. From here, we can place portals on the exterior surfaces of the map until we reach the cake room. It's pretty far away, so the portal takes a few seconds to land. Now that we're on the ceiling, we can fall halfway into the orange portal and remove it to clip down into the room. Now there's usually no point in coming here other than the novelty of going somewhere you shouldn't be. But for the purpose of soft-locking ourselves, it is possible to tamper with the ending sequence. During the ending cutscene, the credits are scripted to appear when the claw pinches the candle flame. Specifically, the right joint needs to rotate 25 degrees inward. This is the sole condition that needs to be met in order for the credits to play. So if we can prevent this rotation from happening, we can postpone the credits indefinitely. Conveniently, there's a companion cube we can place inside the cake to block the claw. It's almost like it was put here for this exact purpose. Now we can portal back to the main area of the map and defeat GLaDOS as usual. The ending cutscene proceeds normally. Parking lot, pipe corridor, cake room. But this time, the cube is in the position we left it in earlier. With the candle blocked off, the claw cannot fully descend, and the cutscene just awkwardly persists without ever cutting to the credits. And just like that, we've become soft-locked. Except we haven't, because if we wait here for 27 hours, 46 minutes, and 39 seconds, Chell suddenly has a heart attack and dies. Dying is a problem, because it loads an autosave that places us back in GLaDOS' chamber just before the boss fight starts. Now at this point, we can choose to keep the cycle going. By defeating GLaDOS and going through the ending sequence a second time, we once again become stuck in place for over 27 hours. But because we will always inevitably die and respawn back at the start of the boss fight, we're always given an opportunity to break free from the cycle. With a few portal-related exploits, it's possible to go back out of bounds, revisit the cake room, and to move the cube out of the claw's way. Upon returning to GLaDOS' chamber and defeating the boss, the ending cutscene will play out normally, and the game can finally end. In actuality, we were never truly soft-locked.
Nouveau baume hydratant intensif CeraVe pour les peaux extra sèches. Hydrate 72 heures et renforce la barrière cutanée en pharmacie et parapharmacie.
But this still doesn't address the T-posing elephant in the room. Why does doing nothing for an entire day kill us? If you've ever played a Source Engine game, you may be familiar with the Developer Console. The console allows the player to type in commands that perform a variety of tasks, such as hiding the view model or toggling development features like NoClip. Interestingly, the game itself can issue commands to the console, and this is how the neurotoxin timer is activated. There's a command called start neurotoxins that sets the neurotoxin timer to some specified amount of time in seconds. When the GLaDOS boss fight begins, a relay executes the command start neurotoxins 360, which sets the timer to 6 minutes. The timer only has one job. It counts down until it reaches 0, in which case it begins damaging the player until they die. And when I say the timer only has one job, I mean it. Counting down is the only thing the timer is programmed to do. Once it's been started, there is absolutely no way to stop it. This presents an obvious problem, where defeating the boss with a small amount of time left would still kill the player after the fight already ended. To get around this, the developer scripted it so that defeating GLaDOS executes the command start neurotoxins 99999. If I keep the screen visible after the boss fight ends, you can see that it doesn't actually stop. It's just set to an absurdly high number. Now, normally this is fine, since the entire ending sequence with credits only takes about 5 minutes and 11 seconds to get through. After that, you're kicked out to the main menu where the timer can't hurt you. But if the ending cutscene were to somehow become stuck, well, the timer will just keep on ticking. and ticking, and ticking, and ticking, until the entire 99,999 seconds run out, and the player dies. It's a pretty weird situation, but it's not the only thing that's weird about the timer. Do you see it? I've been playing this game for nearly 2 decades and never noticed it until making this video, but once I pointed it out, just be prepared to never unsee it. The minutes and seconds are counting down, but the milliseconds are counting up. It's easier to see this when the footage is slowed down. Even stranger, the milliseconds value isn't even in sync with the seconds value. Notice how the second decrements, not when the millisecond is 0, but when it's at some arbitrary value. Surprisingly, the reason for this has little to do with the screen itself. See, the screen entity is only responsible for displaying a timer. It doesn't control the timer in any way. The neurotoxin timer is actually managed inside the player entity. The functional code for the timer exists within the player, and it heavily relies on something called the global timer. The global timer tracks how much time has passed since the current map was loaded. For demonstration purposes, it'll show how much time has passed since the start of the video. Now, when the start neurotoxins command is run, the game takes the current value of the global timer and adds it to whatever value was specified in the command. Say 30 seconds. The resulting number is the time in which the neurotoxin should start damaging the player. This is why the timer can't be stopped. The expiration time can't be removed, only moved. Moving the expiration to the past would just kill the player now, so at best, it can only be postponed further in the future. Now, the empty region between the current time and the expiration time is known as the remaining time, and this is the value the neurotoxin screens use to display the countdown clock. Sort of. The screens don't directly access the time remaining value. Instead, the remaining time is stored in the bonus challenge timer. Portal has a bonus maps menu that allows you to play through certain chambers with an extra challenge. These challenges include least portals, least steps, and least time. Playing a chamber with the least time challenge displays a timer in the bottom right of the screen, and this is where the neurotoxin timer is ultimately stored. You can actually confirm this yourself by running the start neurotoxins command during a time challenge, which overrides the timer and makes it count down instead of up. And no, you can't cheat the time challenges by doing this. The actual timer is still tracked internally, despite what the UI in the bottom right shows. Storing the neurotoxin countdown in the challenge timer is a problem, because the challenge timer is an integer variable, so it can only store full seconds with no fractional component. When the neurotoxin screen reads this value, it can extract minutes, seconds, but not milliseconds. So how did the developers get around this? Easy, just display the global timer's milliseconds. This explains why the milliseconds count up rather than down, and why the milliseconds aren't synchronized. The global timer is completely independent from the neurotoxin countdown, and can be at any value when the boss fight starts. So to recap, a relay in the map sends a command to the console that starts a countdown within the player entity that gets stored in the bonus challenge timer that gets sent to the neurotoxin screen that has to fill in the milliseconds using the global timer. The term spaghetti code gets thrown around pretty frivolously when it comes to Source Engine games, but this is a case where it's genuinely warranted. In fairness to the developers, there may have been a good reason for this. Based on what's publicly known about Portal's development timeline, the final boss fight wasn't finalized until just a few months before the game's release. And this was back when games needed to be printed on physical discs. It's entirely possible that these countdown screens were rushed at the very end of development in order to reach a deadline. So what about Portal 2 then? With its massive increase in both budget and manpower, surely it has a proper neurotoxin timer. Well, yes it does. The milliseconds count down with the rest of the timer and are perfectly synced to the second. This was accomplished by re-implementing the timer to be completely self-contained within the screen entity, although despite this, there's still some leftover code from Portal 1's design. Notably, the start neurotoxins command still exists in Portal 2, but executing it doesn't affect the screens, and seemingly doesn't affect the player either. But if we turn on damage logging, we can see that the player does continuously receive neurotoxin damage despite not dying. What's happening here is caused by the game's health regeneration mechanic. In both Portal games, your health rapidly increases back to its maximum value after 1 second of not taking any damage. The system works by logging the most recent time the player received damage, and continuously restoring health if the current time is more than 1 second later than the logged time. Now, for reasons I'm not entirely sure of, the code responsible for health regen was moved into a different file during Portal 2's development. The new location of the code still detects the usual sources of damage, but it doesn't detect the damage inflicted by the leftover command. Because the neurotoxin damage doesn't log a new timestamp, your health just keeps regenerating as if nothing happened. The developers never had a reason to test if neurotoxin damage still worked under the new system, because the command wasn't intended to be used in Portal 2. In the actual boss fight in the final retail game, the timer running out simply activates a relay to fade the screen and kill the player. Arguably a more straightforward way of handling things. So we know the neurotoxin timer is a little quirky, but so what? It's not like it's the only timer in Portal, because right at the beginning of the game, one of the first things you see in the relaxation vault is a clock. Maybe this clock is capable of telling proper time. Maybe this is Valve's chance for redemption. Let's look at how it works. To start, this timer does not use an actual screen like the neurotoxin displays. Instead, the vault clock is made up of 4 separate animated textures. In order, these values denote minutes, seconds, centiseconds, which are hundredths of a second, and milliseconds, which are thousandths of a second. The texture used for the minute value only has 2 frames, 0 and 1. This means that, without modification, there's no way to display a time that's 2 minutes or higher. The texture for the second value has 60 frames, one for every number between 0 and 59. The texture for the centisecond value is actually the exact same as the seconds texture. It has 60 frames spanning the numbers 0 to 59. The texture for the millisecond value is the most interesting. This texture only has 10 frames, but as you can see, most of the frames are kind of fuzzy and don't depict a distinct number. This blurring effect is intentional, so that when the frames are being cycled through in real time, it gives off the illusion that the numbers are changing much more rapidly than they actually are. It's a pretty clever trick, but it only works because the milliseconds are intended to be unreadable gibberish. The other values are actually supposed to tell a coherent time, so let's find out how well they do that. Each section of the clock is controlled by its own timer entity, and each timer is hooked up to another entity that cycles through the animated texture. You can see that there are 2 different entity types for this, but they both accomplish the same thing. The timer for the millisecond value is set to go off every 10th of a second, which is why the texture cycles so quickly. The other 3 timers, however, are set to go off every full second. What each of these do at that full second is different though. The minute value is scripted to only change a single time, right about now, and then it never does anything after that. The second value is easily the most straightforward bit. Every second, the texture advances to the next frame. The centisecond value is handled similarly, except every second, the texture is told to cycle through all of 60 of its frames. And this is the control flow for the vault clock. Even though it looks pretty chaotic with multiple timers controlling different parts of the same clock, it's all synchronized remarkably well, since each timer operates at the same 1 second interval. But there's still some things about this clock that make absolutely no sense. First off, the centiseconds texture only displays values between 0 and 59, when it should display values between 0 and 99. But is that really a problem? Obviously, yes, 100 is literally in the name. But what I really mean is, when it comes to minutes and seconds, we're perfectly fine with counting up to 60. Why don't we do the same for smaller units of time? And while we're at it, why did we settle on the number 60 instead of something else, like 100? Well, the reason is that time is old. Before the invention of mechanical clocks, one of the ways humans measured the passage of time involved tracking the movement of shadows cast by the sun. Uncovered in 2013, this sundial is estimated to have been created in ancient Egypt sometime around 1500 BC, and is currently the oldest sundial that's been physically recovered. The markings on the limestone subdivide the day into 12 segments, and although they aren't exactly equal in length, these 12 segments roughly correspond to the 12 hours we use on modern-day clocks. Add another 12 hours to account for the second half of the day, nighttime, and this is where we get our 24 hours from. Now, the fact that ancient Egyptians subdivided the day into 12 hours seems a bit arbitrary, considering they primarily used a base 10 numeral system. But perhaps it's no different to how we primarily use the decimal system, while still having a notable emphasis on the number 12. After counting beyond 10, numbers begin to have the postfix teen, 13, 14, 15, and so on. But we don't call these numbers first teen and second teen. They have special names, 11 and 12. This naming convention isn't unique to English, by the way. It's present in other Germanic languages as well. It's hard to pinpoint the exact reason why so many cultures prefer counting things in 12s, but a likely factor is that 12 has a lot of factors. In the context of a clock, 12 hours can be evenly divided into halves, thirds, fourths, and sixths, something that can't be done with the number 10. This convenience may be why the day was split into 12 hours, and for a while it was sufficient to measure time solely using hours. But eventually, humans had the desire to subdivide time into smaller units. There were many, many cultures that contributed to this over the course of thousands of years, but the majority of them did so using mathematical conventions popularized by Babylonian astronomers. Unlike the ancient Egyptians, or even modern societies, ancient Babylonians did not use a base 10 number system, such as the decimal system. Instead, they used the sexagesimal system, a base 60 system where there are 60 numerals. Except for the number 0, which was depicted with a blank space. Under this system, it was intuitive to split the hour into 60ths, one for every numeral. Further subdivisions of this newly created unit were also made using 60ths. The popularity of sexagesimal is also difficult to explain with certainty. But just like the number 12, the number 60 can be evenly divided by many other numbers. Considering this was a time before digital calculators, the ability to fractionalize measurements of time into whole numbers was incredibly beneficial. This method of measuring time persisted throughout history, leading to our present day minute and second. But why are they called minutes and seconds? Well, we get the word minute from the Latin phrase for first small part, and we get the word second from the Latin phrase for second small part. We call these seconds because they are literally second to the minute. Continuing this pattern, values in the next subdivision would be thirds, values in the next subdivision would be fourths, and so on. So in a way, this clock actually is valid in a timeline where thirds and fourths became commonly used measurements. But we don't live in that timeline. Thirds never really caught on because there was little practical use for having units that little. In fact, minutes and seconds weren't even measured on physical clocks until relatively recently. This clock, located in Freiburg, Germany, tells the time solely using the hour hand, not for stylistic reasons, but because it was built in a time before the minute and second hand. Minutes and seconds did exist as units back then. It's just that clocks weren't precise enough to reliably measure them. And by the time we did begin reliably measuring time shorter than a second, the decimal system had already become standard and was used to subdivide the second using metric units. There were a few proposals to retrofit decimal notation into the previously existing units of time, but the most serious attempt was made during the French Revolution. In late 1793, the French National Convention wrote into law a new method for how time should be measured. The decree states that each day is to be divided into 10 hours, each hour is to be divided into 100 minutes, and each minute is to be divided into 100 seconds. Clocks that were manufactured for this new specification generally looked like this: 10 large ticks for the hours with 100 small ticks for the minutes. Comparing decimal time to traditional time reveals just how much of a shift this is. For example, 7:15 a.m. is equivalent to 3:02 in decimal time. 12 o'clock noon would be 5 o'clock decimal time. 5:06 p.m. would be 7:12 decimal time, and so on. This might seem like change for the sake of change, but there is a particular benefit to this system. The decimal time can always be expressed as a fraction or percentage of how much of the day has passed. If the current time is 2:50, you know that the current day is 25% over. This method of notating and communicating time is particularly useful in astronomy, where dates and times are frequently added and subtracted from one another. But given that you're probably not watching this video at 2 on April 47th, it should be obvious that decimal time was not adopted by the general public, just a year and a half after it was initially instated. The French National Convention abolished the mandatory use of decimal time, and deliberately did not include it in the metric system. Several reasons were given to justify the abandonment of decimal time. Everything from the fear of confusing the old and new units to the cost of changing clocks. But perhaps the most notable reason is the fact that nearly everyone continued to use traditional timekeeping anyway. Any and all future attempts to decimalize time were unsuccessful. Our system of timekeeping is an amalgamation of multiple numeral systems, spawning from several civilizations dating back at least 4,000 years. It's why we separate minutes from seconds using a colon, but seconds are separated from smaller units using a decimal point. And under the decimal system, the centisecond and millisecond values being separated doesn't make any sense. It's like writing the number 6.25 as 6.2.5. The 2 and the 5 are both part of the same fractional component. For the clock to be properly formatted, it would need to look like this, and the centiseconds would need to count down from 99 instead of 59. But in all likelihood, a developer probably figured that having symmetry just made the clock more interesting to look at. And to make sure you do actually look at the clock, because if you don't, it might lie to you. Remember these entities that are responsible for animating the textures? Well, there's a bug with the entity type used for the centiseconds and milliseconds, where they can only stop cycling textures if they're on screen. It's really easy to observe this yourself. Right now, these two clocks are perfectly in sync with one another. You can pause the video at any point and see that both clocks display the exact same time. Every time. Now, if we look away from the clock inside the vault and focus on the clock outside the vault, we can see that it stops once the timer hits 0. This would suggest that the clock inside the vault is also stopped at 0. But it isn't. Due to the bug, the timer only stops after we bring it back into view. A watched pot never boils, but an unwatched clock never stops ticking. In a way, it's kind of funny. Aperture Science is capable of inventing portals that completely defy the laws of physics. They can build sentient robots that harness the complexities and nuances of human intelligence. They're even able to bake a cake that's good enough to die for. But when it comes to building a clock, well, time is just too complicated. Thanks for spending some of your time with me, and thanks for watching.
Okay, finally, forge multi-parts. Wow, cost.
The concept of a cat being called a car is an inherently funny one, which is why people seem to love referring to their furry friends as mechanical automobiles. The idea has been online for years at this stage, but it's become so ingrained into modern vocabulary that it's become ripe for discussion. There are a number of ways the word cat could have been replaced with car. The most obvious seems to be that T and R are right next to one another on the keyboard, so it's been easy for people to mistakenly hit the R and thus describe a cat as a car. Autocorrect on phones could exacerbate this, as it may assume people are more likely to be talking about their cars than cats for some reason. Then the other option is just that cats have facial features that look like logos, plus they purr and it kind of sounds like a car engine, as pointed out by many on the internet. At this stage, it's kind of like the many other words we've seen pop up and change due to memes. Stuff like the becoming te, or bird becoming burb, or lol becoming kek. There's countless examples similar to cat becoming car, all of which briefly seem to change outside of the internet too. Once everyone gets in on the lingo, it becomes normalized, and suddenly the entire concept of what can and can't be language has been totally changed by memes. By using the same slang as others, especially other cat lovers, audiences can feel a sense of social belonging on a social media platform, recognized as the type of person willing to get a bit silly in the cat community. I think Weil describes it best in an article, The Effect of Non-Standard Language on the Perception of Cuteness in Animal Memes, in relation to the manner in which language changes online to fit the goofiness of real-life communication with pets. She writes, these patterns of language change were created to make text-based communication almost as nuanced as face-to-face communication, and have bent the limitations of standard language to do so. Hence, a cat can become a car because it is normal for human beings to describe pets in ways that are different to how it would usually be done. A cat can also be sploinky, groovy, scrunkly, or any other adjective or noun humans collectively decide are best to describe such a small furry creature. In short, cats being called cars is simply another evolution in language thanks to the opportunities afforded by meme culture. And even if it was spurred on by a typo at first, it has now evolved into a years-long trend thanks to the internet collectively deciding, yep, this cat is a car. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments below.
And remember, like and subscribe!
John Cena speaking Mandarin is indicative of something that's been happening for a long time. Put simply, China is one of the richest countries in the world, and there's a ton of money to be made if they wish to pay you for doing something. John Cena obviously earns a lot of money from China, and as a result he's partial to appealing to his fans. The main reason being that he's involved in the Fast and Furious franchise, which rakes in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars from the Chinese market. Not only that, but aside from being an entertainer, Cena knows how to speak Mandarin, which is actually really impressive. However, when he recorded a video apologizing for recognizing Taiwan as a country whilst promoting the Fast and Furious 9 during May this year, all hell broke loose for ultra-nationalist Chinese citizens, and they were not happy with him at all. Likely cornered by his publicist into apologizing, Cena did just that, and a ton of memes broke loose in accordance with the fact that his apology left a bad taste in everyone's mouths. It kind of really sucks when someone who has done so much good and so many people look up to feels they need to apologize for referring to what is obviously a country as a country. It's also worth noting John Cena's constant contributions to meme culture over the decades. His wrestling catchphrase, "You can't see me," has led to endless banter and speculation on whether or not he can be seen, and his wrestling introduction absolutely blew up as a bait and switch during the mid-2010s. All of this has led to a pretty consistent presence online, meaning when a video surfaced of John Cena eating ice cream and saying how much he likes it in Mandarin, meme creators were quick to satirize his efforts after his apology to China. At any rate, it's interesting how meme culture can reflect the opinions of those either invested or uninvested in worldwide politics. It's no secret China is responsible for some pretty awful human rights abuses, and it really sucks to see a professional wrestler and Hollywood actor apologize to those who believe they own a country. The ultra-nationalist tendencies of China are bestowed upon many of its citizens through endless propaganda campaigns and misinformation. If you don't say you love your country, you're labeled as not a true patriot. It's this kind of attitude that is garnering frustration from meme creators in both Western and Eastern areas of the internet. The major difference is that meme creators in China might go to prison for posting them. Essentially, seeing John Cena eating ice cream and speaking Mandarin
My internet's gonna cut out. Fuck.
in the wake of his apology to China is a reminder that none of us are untouchable, and making light of that is a good way for the internet to understand it. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments.